The flat we should have never moved into, 1991. Sometimes, the past doesn't haunt places. It hides inside them, waiting for someone to move in. It was the summer of 1991. I still remember the air, thick, humid, and heavy with the smell of gasoline and rain. I had just been transferred to a new branch in a quiet town somewhere in Ohio. It was supposed to be a fresh start for my family, me, my wife Linda, our son Ethan, and our little daughter Grace. But life had other plans. My company told me that the new housing complex they promised would take at least a year to finish. So my boss, trying to sound generous, said, "I've arranged a temporary place for you, Mark. It's an old company-owned flat, not far from the office. You'll be fine there till your new house is ready." I wish I had asked why that flat was empty in the first place. When we first pulled up to the building, it looked harmless. A worn-out 3-story apartment, surrounded by rusted fences and an overgrown lawn. The signboard outside read, "Evergreen Apartments," though the only green thing left was the mold climbing up its walls. Inside, the hallway smelled like wet wood and dust, the kind of smell that clings to your clothes. Our flat was on the second floor, flat 204. The paint peeled off in places, the air was strangely cold, and the ceiling fan made a soft clicking noise every few seconds. It didn't feel haunted, but it didn't feel alive either. The first few nights were quiet. We unpacked, set up our rooms, and tried to make it feel like home. Linda would hum while cooking. The kids played around with cardboard boxes. But by the fourth night, small things began to happen. It started with the lights flickering, even though the power was steady. Then there was the sound, faint knocking, always coming from inside the walls. At first, I blamed the old wiring, or maybe rats. But one night, around 2:17 a.m., I woke up because I heard someone walking in the hallway. Slow, deliberate footsteps, one after another, stopping. Right outside our bedroom door. I froze. My eyes adjusted to the dark, and I saw the doorknob twitch, not once, 3 times. When I jumped out of bed and switched on the light, there was no one there. The hallway was empty, and both kids were fast asleep. That was the first night I realized we weren't alone in that flat. Next morning, Linda told me something that made my stomach twist. She said Grace had been talking to someone in her room. When she asked who it was, Grace replied innocently, "The man who lives in the walls. He says we shouldn't open the closet." I laughed it off at first, but Grace's face, she wasn't joking. Days passed. Ethan started getting nosebleeds at night and said he heard breathing sounds near his bed. Linda complained that she smelled burnt wood every evening around 7, even though the kitchen was off. The strangest part? The clock in the living room always stopped at 3:09 a.m., no matter how many times I replaced the batteries. And every night after that, the same knocking started again, this time from behind the closet in Grace's room. There's something about silence at 3 a.m. that makes you feel like the world's holding its breath. One evening, I decided to end it. I pushed the closet away from the wall. Behind it, there was a thin wooden panel that didn't match the rest of the wall. When I pressed it, the wood cracked open, revealing a small hollow space like a crawl area. The air inside was damp and it smelled like rot. I shone my flashlight in and saw scratches, thousands of them, carved into the wall, and a single line written in black ink, greater than "He still lives here." I stumbled back, my hands shaking. That night, none of us could sleep. Linda begged me to leave the place, but the lease and work made it impossible. Over the next few days, the house started to change. The air felt heavier. We'd wake up to find wet footprints on the kitchen floor. Sometimes, all the doors would be unlocked in the morning, though I checked them every night. And Grace stopped talking altogether. One night, I found her standing near the window, whispering. When I asked who she was talking to, she said, "He's not bad, Daddy. He just wants his family back." Her eyes were empty, blank, like someone else was looking through her. The next morning, I called my boss and demanded answers. At first, he denied everything, until his voice cracked. He told me that years ago, a maintenance worker named Harold had lived in that same flat with his wife and kids. One night, the place caught fire. No one survived, except Harold. They said he went mad, refused to leave, kept saying his family was still inside. And then one day, he disappeared. Police never found him. My boss whispered. The locals say he never left the flat. That's why we kept it closed. I wanted to believe ghosts weren't real. I wanted to believe my family was safe. That same night, we packed our bags. As I carried the last box out, I heard the door to Grace's room slam shut. She screamed. I rushed in. The window was open, curtains flying, and Grace stood near the closet, her hand pressed against the wall. She looked at me and said, "He says we can't go. It's his turn to live now." Then the lights went out. For a moment I couldn't see, only hear breathing. Not hers, not mine, someone else's. When the light came back, she was gone. The closet was closed. We found her the next morning, sitting outside the flat door, cold but alive. She didn't remember anything. We left that day, never looked back. It's been 34 years. We never spoke about it again. But sometimes, when I wake up at 3:09 a.m., I swear I still hear that soft knocking sound, coming from behind the walls. Some places don't let you go, because you were never meant to leave.